I have to tell you, as I said, I've been going through an evolution on this issue. I've always been adamant that gay and lesbian Americans should be treated fairly and equally. And that's why, in addition to everything we've done in this administration, rolling back Don't Ask, Don't Tell, so that outstanding Americans can serve our country, whether it's no longer defending the Defense Against Marriage Act, which tried to federalize what has historically been state law. I've stood on the side of broader equality for the LGBT community. And I had hesitated on gay marriage, in part because I thought civil unions would be sufficient, that was something that would give people hospital visitation rights and other elements that we take for granted. And I was sensitive to the fact that for a lot of people, the word marriage was something that evokes very powerful traditions, religious beliefs, and so forth.
Damn. Greet you the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mentioned both Jesus and Muhammad's names. Peace be upon them both. They were both messengers of truth and reality. You're looking at the Underground Railroad TV show with me, Clifton Raheem Bradley, and former Alderman Virgil Jones. Hi to the people in the United States, Canada, Central America, Africa, Europe,
Asia.
Asia. See, the Alderman got my back. But we're going to talk about the gay lifestyle, alternative lifestyle, if we want to be politically correct. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to go around. Thank you for accepting the invitation to Mr. Loveless. Mm-hmm. Please start with the Alderman and then go on down.
Well, I always add, I was the Democratic ward committeeman and the alderman.
Okay.
There's two. One is a political party position, and the other is a public office. There's a difference.
And you've been knowing him for years.
Yeah, I know him over about 20 years ago.
Marc Loveless, okay. Introduce yourself, please. Thank you, Alderman.
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to come. My name is Marc Loveless, and I was the first openly gay elected official in the state of Illinois back in 1993. When I was elected to the local school council. That was when local school councils had just started, and it was a different thing, and it was a part of grassroots political involvement. And I actually not only became the first openly gay elected official of all the local school council candidates at that time, I received the most votes for a contested race. There were 6 that were running for the 2 positions of community rep. And it was in Bucktown, actually. So the only people that got elected was a Hispanic person and myself as the community reps, versus the other 4 candidates.
You're running for office right now, right?
Yeah, I'm a candidate for Chicago City Clerk.
Okay. Who you running against? You might not even want to say that person's name.
Well, if I don't say it, no one will know, because no one really knows who the city clerk is.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's the test that I always say is usually I just left the Cook County Bar Association at 100th anniversary, and it was interesting. It depended on where the person lived. I could tell when they said, "Are you running against Dorothy Brown?" They lived on the south side, or they were black. They said, "Are you running against David Orr?" Say no, but I knew that they were white or lived on the north side.
Okay.
And they said, well, then who is the city clerk? And I said, well, therein lies the problem. We don't know. And I said, no, the clerk it's Susan Mendoza.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I want to ask you something, man.
Whose organization is she in?
Okay.
You know.
I just want you to say. I don't care for them.
Okay.
So,
HDO. She came from the HDO.
What is HDO? I don't know what HDO is.
Hispanic Democratic Organization.
She's in the 14th Ward Democratic Organization.
Correct. Yeah.
I want to ask you something, man. You know what about? Excuse me, I'm not trying to be derogatory. The gay, gay lifestyle. There's people like me that just don't understand all due respect,
Mm-hmm.
how a man can lay with another man, and how they want society to accept this from a religious standpoint of view. Can you,
Or a woman.
our woman, can you give me some clarity? Because I don't understand, and I'm not on here to be disrespectful at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, first and foremost, the issue for people are people. This whole notion that homosexuality or that gay people is something new, unique, is not true. It's totally unfounded. There's some people who have even said that homosexuality is brought in by white folks, and that's why you have gay folks in Africa. Absolutely not the case. Now,
Yes.
the real story is that being anti-gay, that's what's white. That's what's Protestant. That is what is counter the culture of black people,
Yes, sir.
and African people and Indian people and indigenous people, because there is always in other cultures, including in some African cultures, they have specific titles and names for gay people. They consider them as people who have what they call heavy spirits or light spirits.
Okay.
And so once we get past that, then we get to where we're at when you talk about things like marriage equality. Okay, the marriage equality, the organization that I started, which was the Coalition for Justice and Respect,
Okay.
which is a African American, LGBT, same gender loving, civil rights and social justice organization. We were one of the first organizations. We stood for a long time as the only African American LGBT organization that stood up for marriage equality, and we took it to the streets. We circulated petitions. We got over 2,000 signatures in less than 30 days from people, African American people, LGBT folks that said that
LPG, what is that?
LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and actually it's Q, questioning. So we got over 2,000 signatures, and we presented to the Legislative Black Caucus, and we said this is your constituency says they support civil unions and a marriage equality. Now, our standpoint has never been from the traditional standpoint of other LGBT organizations when they talk about, I want, like even what the president, the tape you played with the president saying it's about family rights and all that. You know what? We'll figure that out.
Okay.
This is about civil rights.
Okay. We got a half an hour, so you got a question for him?
Well, I want to ask several questions.
Okay.
See, I don't care what a person is.
Mm-hmm.
That's their business.
Mm-hmm.
All
That's right.
It ain't got nothing to do with me.
That's
I
right.
just happen not to choose that lifestyle. All right?
That's
If
right.
they want to live that lifestyle, because that's been in existence before Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Alexander the Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right? He switched both sides.
Excuse me for one question. Let me inform people this is a live show. If you want to call up for the question, please turn down the volume of your television.
Alexander the Great. King James, who had the Bible translated. All right? And from the Greek to the English. He was, not only was he gay, but he was a pedophile.
Okay.
In Egypt, all right, there were individuals who were in the royal side of it, and that's in Africa, ain't it?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the last I checked.
They were gay,
Right.
all right? And when it comes to marriage, in the United States, it wasn't until 1936 that you had to get a marriage license. And how many people know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Before that, you just went to a so-called preacher,
Okay.
and he married you.
Okay. Question for
Now, is what I said true?
I didn't know about 1936, but I did. But you are exactly right. And let me just further state again. I wanted to clarify why we supported it was because of civil rights. It's a civil right, and as the United States Supreme, not this current Supreme Court, in 1968 in the Loving v. Virginia case said that marriage is an issue that the state, and they did 9-0. Not a dissent. Marriage is an issue that state should have no opinion on, and it was their intent to have that decision to go far, because at the same time they struck down another law in Virginia that said that you could treat black prisoners and white prisoners differently. They said you can't do that either. Here's what we have got to understand. As black people, we've got to really get comfortable with this concept that it does any infringement of civil rights, anyone's civil rights, is a threat to our civil rights. They're talking about trying to turn back the Civil Rights Amendment and take back Voting Rights Act. They're serious about that. They're serious about that. They're serious as a heart attack. When you see what happened in Wisconsin with Scott Walker and all the things he did to try to undermine workers' rights, these people are willing to spend millions, tens and tens of millions of dollars. We have to get this message of keeping us down, keeping us divided, keeping us confused, keeping us not being effective, efficient, and assertive, and demanding our full human and civil rights, and that's all people.
Okay. You know what? We got a caller, but
I have to tell you, as I said, I've been going through an evolution on this issue. I've always been adamant that gay and lesbian Americans should be treated fairly and equally. And that's why, in addition to everything we've done in this administration, rolling back Don't Ask, Don't Tell, so that outstanding Americans can serve our country, whether it's no longer defending the Defense Against Marriage Act, which tried to federalize what has historically been state law. I've stood on the side of broader equality for the LGBT community. And I had hesitated on gay marriage, in part because I thought civil unions would be sufficient, that was something that would give people hospital visitation rights and other elements that we take for granted. And I was sensitive to the fact that for a lot of people, the word marriage was something that evokes very powerful traditions, religious beliefs, and so forth.
Damn. Greet you the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mentioned both Jesus and Muhammad's names, peace be upon them both. They were both messages of truth and reality. You're looking at the Underground Railroad TV show with me, Clifton Raheem Bradley, and former Alderman Virgil Jones. Hi to the people in the United States, Canada, Central America, Africa, Europe,
Asia.
Asia. See, the Alderman got my back. But we're going to talk about the gay lifestyle, alternative lifestyle, if we want to be politically correct. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to go around. Thank you for accepting the invitation to Mr. Loveless. Please start with the Alderman and then go on down.
Well, I always add, I was the Democratic ward committeeman and the alderman.
Okay.
There's two. One is a political party position, and the other is a public office. There's a difference.
And you've been knowing him for years.
Yeah, I know him over about 20 years ago.
Mr. Marc Loveless, okay. Introduce yourself, please. Thank you, Alderman.
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to come. My name is Marc Loveless, and I was the first openly gay elected official in the state of Illinois back in 1993 when I was elected to the local school council. That was when local school councils had just started, and it was a different thing, and it was a part of grassroots political involvement. And I actually not only became the first openly gay elected official of all the local school council candidates at that time, I received the most votes for a contested race. There were 6 that were running for the 2 positions of community rep. and it was in Bucktown actually. So the only people that got elected was a Hispanic person and myself as the community reps, versus the other 4 candidates.
You're running for office right now, right?
Yeah, I'm a candidate for Chicago City Clerk.
Okay. Okay. Who you running against? You might not even want to say that person's name.
Well, if I don't say it, no one will know because
Okay.
no one really knows who the city clerk is.
I don't know either.
Yeah, so it's the test that I always say is
Yes.
usually I just left the Cook County Bar Association
Yes, sir.
100th anniversary, and it was interesting. It depended on where the person lived. I could tell when they said, "Are you running against Dorothy Brown?" They lived on the South Side, or they were black. They said, "Are you running against David Orr?" Say no, but I knew that they were white or lived on the north side.
Okay.
And they said, well, then who is the city clerk? And I said, well, therein lies the problem. We don't know. And I said, no, the clerk it's Susan Mendoza.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you something, man.
Whose organization is she in?
Okay.
You know.
I just want you to say. I don't care for them. But
Okay. Go
So
ahead.
HDO. She came from the HDO.
What is
But-
HDO? I don't know
but
what
she's in
HDO
the
is.
Hispanic Democratic
she's in
Organization.
the 14th Ward Democratic Organization.
Correct. Yeah.
I want to ask you something, man. You know what about? Excuse me, I'm not trying to be derogatory. The gay, not lesbian, gay lifestyle. There's people like me that just don't understand. All due respect, how a man can lay with another man, and how they want society to accept this from a religious standpoint of view. Can you,
Or a woman.
our woman, can you give me some clarity? Because I don't understand, and I'm not on here to be disrespectful at all.
Well, first and foremost, the issue for people are people. This whole notion that homosexuality or that gay people is something new, unique, is not true. It's totally unfounded. There's some people who have even said that homosexuality is brought in by white folks, and that's why you have gay folks in Africa. Absolutely not the case. Now,
Yes.
the real story is that being anti-gay, that's what's white. That's what's Protestant. That is what is counter the culture of black people,
Yes, sir.
and African people and Indian people and indigenous people, because there is always in other cultures, including in some African cultures, they have specific titles and names for gay people. They consider them as people who have what they call heavy spirits or light spirits.
Okay.
And so once we get past that, then we get to where we're at when you talk about things like marriage equality. Okay, the marriage equality, the organization that I started, which was the Coalition for Justice and Respect,
Okay.
which is a African American, LGBT, same gender loving, civil rights and social justice organization. We were one of the first organizations. We stood for a long time as the only African American LGBT organization that stood up for marriage equality, and we took it to the streets. We circulated petitions. We got over 2,000 signatures in less than 30 days from people, African American people, LGBT folks that said that
LPG, what is that?
LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and actually it's Q, questioning. So we got over 2,000 signatures, and we presented to the Legislative Black Caucus, and we said this is your constituency says they support civil unions and a marriage equality. Now, our standpoint has never been from the traditional standpoint of other LGBT organizations when they talk about, I want, like even what the president, the tape we played with the president saying it's about family rights and all that. You know what? We'll figure that out.
Okay.
This is about civil rights.
Okay. We got a half an hour, so you got a question for me?
Well, I want to ask several questions.
Okay.
See, I don't care what a person is. That's their business. All
That's right.
It ain't got nothing to do with me.
That's
I
right.
just happen not to choose that lifestyle. All right?
That's
If
right.
they want to live that lifestyle, because that's been in existence before Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alexander the Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he switched both sides.
Excuse me for one question. Let me inform people this is a live show. If you want to call up for the question, please turn down the volume of your television.
Alexander the Great, King James, who had the Bible translated. All right, and from the Greek to the English, he was not only was he gay, but he was a pedophile.
Okay.
In Egypt, all right, there were individuals who were in the royal side of it, and that's in Africa, ain't it?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the last I checked.
They were gay,
Right.
all right? And when it comes to marriage, in the United States, it wasn't until 1936 that you had to get a marriage license.
Now
And how many people know that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Before that, you just went to a so-called preacher,
Okay.
and he married you.
Okay. Question for
Now, is what I said true?
I didn't know about 1936, but I did. But you are exactly right. And let me just further state again. I wanted to clarify why we supported it was because of civil rights. It's a civil right, and as the United States Supreme, not this current Supreme Court, in 1968 in the Loving v. Virginia case said that marriage is an issue that the state, and they did 9-0. Not a dissent. Marriage is an issue that state should have no opinion on, and it was their intent to have that decision to go far, because at the same time they struck down another law in Virginia that said that you could treat black prisoners and white prisoners differently. They said you can't do that either. Here's what we have got to understand: as black people, we've got to really get comfortable with this concept that it does any infringement of civil rights, anyone's civil rights, is a threat to our civil rights. They're talking about trying to turn back the Civil Rights Amendment and take back Voting Rights Act. They're serious about that. They're serious about that. They're serious as a heart attack. When you see what happened in Wisconsin with Scott Walker and all the things he did to try to undermine workers' rights, these people are willing to spend millions, tens and tens of millions of dollars. We have to get this message of keeping us down, keeping us divided, keeping us confused, keeping us not being effective, efficient, and assertive, and demanding our full human and civil rights, and that's all people.
Okay. You know what? We got a caller, but I
Okay.
got a question after this. This is involving religion. Okay. Go ahead, call and beat the drums. This is a live show. Turn your television down. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Williams, and I'd like to address my question to Mr. Marc Loveless. I'm very interested in the concept of LBGB because I look at it as a deeper spiritual issue. Human beings have a right to exist, and I feel that all of us, as we express from the spirit realm and our soul expression, have a right to be treated with respect. Mr. Loveless, I'm so glad that you're on the show. Cliff and Alderman Virgil Jones, I'm so
Cynthia
glad
Williams, Blog
that
Talk
your minds
Radio.
have opened up to receive people of Mr. Loveless's caliber. Mr. Loveless, can you give me a sense of what I think Cliff was trying to ask? You being a man and having love for another man of the same sex, what is that inside of you that you can connect in that way? Help us to understand more.
Good
I have
question.
my perspective, but I want to hear from you as a participant in this area.
Question.
Well, I think that that's more of a personal question, almost to the same point as to why is it I like vegetables and you may not, but it's very difficult to pinpoint. Other than I feel that my interpersonal experiences are gifts from God, and I don't think God ever makes any mistakes at all. So where I find comfort, support, encouragement, I think that's a God message. And if anything, if we can look into it, then if we can get that answer as to the actual why, then I think that's when we become wise as God, and we'll never be there.
Okay, we're going to play some footage, and I want to hear your response from it. Can you look at the footage and tell us what your response is going to be? Please.
Acceptable at all to be a homosexual. That's our religion. Let me finish. Let me finish. See, you're pointing everything about Islam. Not only Islam, neither Christianity allow this. And I think the punishment is the same. Neither Judaism. We always point about what Islam says.
No, Christianity doesn't. They accept homosexuality. They don't agree with it. The religion itself, but they don't have capital punishment for homosexuality.
Well, we have capital punishment.
You do have capital punishment for homosexuality.
Yes.
But if Sharia law was accepted in America and and being homosexual is a capital offense, do you believe that we should kill?
I mean, we kill for everything. Well, I mean, we kill for a pair of Nike shoes. We kill for everything. I mean,
I understand. In jurisprudence in a court of law and under Sharia law, that's acceptable. And if Sharia law were implemented in America, do you believe that we should follow?
If Sharia law was implemented in this, then you're going to be killed. Yes.
غير القانون شو ممكن تعمل غير المؤبد والاعدام؟
يعني في الشريعه الاسلاميه اللواط اذا ثبت يرمى من مبنى عالي.
طب انت شو بتعمل فيها؟
انا حقيقه يعني استقصد فيهم الاعدام، والله هؤلاء ينبغي في الواقع ان يوضعوا في مكان عام ويجلدوا ويؤدبوا حتى يعني تظهر حقائق هؤلاء الناس ويكونوا عبرة لغيرهم، لأن هؤلاء يعني بلاء على المجتمع وباء على المجتمع.
Spam. What I want to ask you is, when you look at something like that, there are people that have that religious concept within Islam. Sharia law, you aware of Sharia law believes that homosexuals should be stoned to death. And when you look at something like that, this is not to put you on the spot. What is your response to something like that? How somebody could think of something like that, atrocity wrong, or tell me.
I think that
let me explain something. This is not to put this show is to understand and to hear different points of views and opinions. That's why he's here.
You know, the first thing when I see something like that is I just honestly have some compassion for the fact that the people are being misled. Sharia law is Islamic law. And Islamic Sharia law is being interpreted by people who have, and many times, have not even read the Quran. That's the first thing.
Sharia law and Quran is two different separate things. Well, go ahead.
Exactly. The second thing is those who purport, and this goes back to the whole threat to civil rights.
Yes, sir.
Because those who would say the same thing about homosexuals or gay people, they'll also say that about women. They also give no authority to people who are different from them. So there's a whole lot. You know what? You get bigotry, prejudice, and ignorance at a discount.
Yes, sir.
Once you get one, they all come at a reduced rate.
Okay, man, you a great guest. You got 3 calls.
I want to ask a question right quick, because I'm gonna drop this bomb out there. You know who Bayard Rustin is, right?
Of course. I know his lover.
He was one of the right-hand people of who?
Dr. King
and
A. Philip Randolph.
What was he?
And he was gay.
All right.
Helen DeGeneres. So.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother thing.
I'm talking about Bayard.
Let's stick with black folks.
Rustin.
Okay.
All right. Matter of fact, the only reason they had the march on the mall
was
because Adam Clayton Powell threatened to expose Bayard Rustin as being gay, and was going to say that he and Dr. King had a relationship.
You got a lot of calls, man, and we got to get to the calls.
I just want to get my point in
I
there.
get your point.
All right.
And Dr. King said, do what you got to do. We're going to do this.
That's
yes,
right.
Sir. Yes, sir. Come on, caller. Go ahead and beat the drums. Please turn down your television. Turn down the sound.
Uh-oh, that one we lost.
Come on,
Next
caller.
caller.